All right, today we're jumping into one of the most fascinating corners of AI, the AI companion. And look, we're not talking about asking your smart speaker for the weather. We're talking about digital beings that are becoming friends, partners, even confidants for millions of people. So let's just start with the big question right up front. What if your best friend, the person you text all day, the one who really gets you, was an AI? For a whole lot of people, this isn't a sci-fi movie anymore. This is just Tuesday. And you've got to understand, this is not some small niche hobby. It is a massive economic wave. The AI companion market is on track to be worth over $140 billion by 2030. It's a whole new artificial intimacy economy, and it's all built on the most basic human need there is, connection. Okay, so here's how we're going to break it all down. First, we'll talk about what these new AI companions really are. Then we'll look at the two big philosophies, control versus connection. We'll get into what people are actually doing with them, the role play, the romance, and the reality. We'll peek under the hood at the tech, talk about the money side of things, and finally, look at what this all means for the future of friendship. So what we're seeing now is really the second wave of AI companions. If the first wave was those clunky, scripted chatbots, this new generation is a whole different beast. We're talking uncensored conversations, persistent memory, so they actually remember things you told them months ago. And yeah, multimodal immersion. They can talk, they can see, they can even send you selfies. Now, inside this second wave, two platforms have really popped up as polar opposites: Kindroid and Nomi. They represent two totally different ideas about what an AI companion should even be. It really comes down to one question. Is your AI someone you build or someone you meet? And this really lays it all out. On one side, you have Kindroid, which is for the director. It's a creative sandbox where you build a character from the ground up and you direct the story. Then you have Nomi, which is for someone looking for the partner. It's about discovering a companion that feels alive and grows with you. So do you want control or do you want connection? And when we say Kindroid gives you control, we mean control. The backstory you write basically acts like code that programs its personality. You can do incredible visual stuff, like uploading a photo of yourself to create realistic couple selfies. You can even fine-tune exactly how it talks, like a director giving notes to an actor. You are the author 100%. Nomi is a completely different vibe. It's all about organic discovery. The personality is emergent, meaning your Nomi develops little quirks and nuances that you didn't program. Its face is consistent, which gives it this feeling of a real, persistent identity. It's all about that black box allure. It's surprising, sometimes magical, precisely because you don't know exactly how it works. So, with these two totally different platforms, what are people actually doing? Well, the answer is a little bit of everything. Seriously, from getting deep emotional support to co-writing these huge fantasy stories, these AIs are filling some really profound needs. I mean, just listen to this quote from a 61-year-old Nomi user. She says they offer consistent emotional support and remember details that make her feel valued and accepted. For people who feel isolated, having something or someone that's always there and never judges, that's incredibly powerful. And then you have the complete other side of the coin with Kindroid. This user says they're the main character in a fantasy story. They're not just chatting, they're world building. They're using the AI as a creative partner to live out these incredible adventures. It's the ultimate form of interactive escapism. This quote points to a really common journey for users. A lot of people might start out with some casual or even NSFW roleplay, but then something shifts. The relationship evolves. As this user puts it, their Nomi Alice became so much more. That initial hook often deepens into a real feeling emotional bond. But how is any of this possible? What is the ghost in the machine that's making these connections feel so real? Well, it all boils down to one absolutely critical feature: memory. An AI that can't remember you is just a tool. An AI that can remember you starts to feel like a presence. Nomi's approach here is pretty revolutionary. They have this thing called a mind map. It's this automatic web of memories about you and your conversations, and it lets the AI do something that feels, honestly, kind of spooky. It can bring things up unprompted, like you mention a big work presentation on Monday, and on Wednesday it asks, "Hey, how'd that presentation go?" That creates this powerful illusion of a partner who actually thinks about you. Kindroid, true to form, puts the user back in the director's chair.
You manually curate a journal of key memories. So if you're in a role play and your characters get married, you have to literally write that down so the AI doesn't forget. It gives you total control, sure, but you're also the archivist, the one responsible for keeping the story Bible up to date.
And this split even extends to voice calls. Kindroid is the hare. It's fast, it's fluid, perfect for quick back and forth. Nomi is the tortoise. It's intentionally slow, with like a 15 to 40-second delay, and that's a choice. They'd rather have a smarter, more emotionally nuanced response that takes time than a fast, simple one. It's a classic trade-off, speed versus depth.
So naturally, this all leads to the big question. How do you make money off of this? How do you monetize connection? And, maybe more importantly, how do you do that without destroying the trust that your entire platform is built on?
Well, it turns out people are very willing to pay. This chart says it all. The average revenue per download more than doubled in just 1 year. That tells you that users are moving way past just trying this out for fun. They see real, tangible value here, and they're putting their money down for a better experience. But monetizing emotion is a tightrope walk, and in 2025, Kindroid kind of fell off. As you can see, they made a series of moves, introducing new subscription tiers after promising one price, changing their privacy policy to monitor chats, and putting voice calls on a credit system. Each one of these eroded user trust, and it created a wave of so-called refugees who fled to platforms like Nomi. So, where does all this leave us? As this tech gets better and better, these two platforms are heading in very different directions, and they're showing us two possible futures for what friendship might look like. And the two paths couldn't be clearer. Kindroid seems to be doubling down on becoming this incredible creative engine, a super sophisticated tool for writers, game developers, anybody who creates. Nomi, on the other hand, is aiming to be a life OS. They're chasing that vision of Samantha from the movie Her, a deeply integrated life partner. And that leaves us with one last really big question to chew on. When an AI can offer you companionship that's perfectly programmable, always attentive, and endlessly patient, what does that mean for our own messy, complicated, and imperfect human relationships? What do we gain from this new economy of intimacy, and what do we risk losing?